I'm Robert Pagel, and I'm very glad to return to Japan and see some familiar faces and also many new faces each time I come to Japan. Our community of InterSystems developers and business partners is growing and thriving, and that's what I'd like to talk about today. I'd like to talk about some of the successes that we've had in the past year, what we see as some of the most important trends affecting your work, what we're doing in support of those, both from a technology point of view, from a product point of view, and also a little bit from a business perspective. So, without further ado, let me get started. Yomatsu-san explained that 2010 was a very successful year for InterSystems. We had substantial growth in revenue and employees all around the world. I'd like to take a moment and go slightly more detail about our different product lines and show you that in fact that growth is supported in every activity that we're engaged in. Let's begin with Cache. As you know, all of our products are based on Cache. It's at the heart of everything we do. And what's pleasing for us is that even with the new initiatives that we have underway, our Cache business continues to thrive and to grow. We measure growth for our product lines not in total revenue, but really what we look at is the license revenue, because that's the indicator of new adoption and new usage. And in 2010, I'm pleased to say that Cache grew in its license revenue alone by 18%. That is substantially higher than the database market as a whole, and we're very pleased by that. That growth was spurred by existing partners growing, but also by our acquiring new partners. And I'd like to highlight one of the key successes for 2010 for Cache, and that is the deployment of a significant new application at Credit Suisse. As most of you know, Credit Suisse is one of the largest financial services firms in the world. It's a multinational company, and it controls so much of the investment banking and so much of the trading that takes place. Over the years, Credit Suisse has adopted Cache for various applications, but last year we reached a new milestone. The most important application within Credit Suisse, which is an in-house trading platform that covers all of the equity trades that Credit Suisse is responsible for, was migrated from custom technology, a homegrown in-memory database. It was migrated from that to Cache. The technology they had been using was built by the chief technology officer of this entire firm. It was his baby, it was his invention, and it had served the firm well. But as an in-memory database, it had one fatal flaw, and that is that when activity got very high, for example, on very busy trading days, if you ran out of memory or you had any kind of fault, your data isn't persistent. So they had a couple of failures over the course of some years on very busy days, and these tended to happen at the very end of the trading day. So they're scrambling to recover with just a few minutes before the market closes to recover the data. These kind of mistakes cost a firm like Credit Suisse, when they happen, millions and millions of dollars. So even though this performed very well 99.99% of the time, when it failed, it was too much of a risk. And even the man who created it saw the benefits of swapping to Cache. Because what Cache offered was the same performance, but with a full persistent database. So they were able to act like an in-memory system, but have full persistence. Now, it turns out that they got much more benefit than that they expected. With Cache, they were able to get a 10-fold increase in throughput while maintaining the same response times they'd always historically achieved. This is really important for them because this trading platform is enormous. Of all the equity trades that take place in the world each day, this is the third largest platform in the world. The only larger ones are the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. Credit Suisse's proprietary platform handles, used to be 12%, it's now higher, 12% of the equity trades every day. And that rate is growing for them. So having headroom was a significant advantage. It also turns out that they were able to save money. The Cache deployment required less hardware, less space in the data center, and so they estimate that about a savings of 50% in deployment costs. But, as I said, neither of these really matter, because what mattered to them was the risk that they took every day. And that risk of failure and the promise that Cache could eliminate it caused them to make this substitution. We're very pleased to see this performing so well and staying up with the increased growth that they had achieved since they went live. Switching attention to Ensemble. Ensemble revenue also grew last year, and as I said, when we look at the license revenue, Ensemble revenue grew significantly. Now, Cache is still the largest single platform that we have, the largest single product that we have. It accounts for more than 3/4 of our revenues. But Ensemble grew substantially in 2010, and we expect that to continue to grow. One of the many new customers that we won for Ensemble last year was an e-government application, the government of Kazakhstan. They had an e-government initiative where they were trying to take services that are provided in offices and make them available online to citizens, to businesses, to organizations. With Ensemble, they were able to develop and deploy more than 73 such services within just 3 months. And they were really impressed by the speed with which they were able to create and make those services available. This is a fairly busy system already today. The statistics that we have here are about 4 months old. They're about 25% higher since then. And they continue to roll out new productions.